Good evening. Liquid Gold Beekeeping and Homesteading. I am about to extract some honey. I got my centrifuge set up right there. I've showed y'all that centrifuge in videos before in detail. It's an electric centrifuge and it holds 4 frames at a time. Here are, well, okay, that's nice. There are my bee boxes. I've got 4 supers. Okay. Got 4 supers and 2 deeps. Not able to, there you go. There's the other set of bee boxes right there. Okay. And then I have my strainers. I've showed y'all that you can use the same strainer you wash your vegetable in, or you can use one of these, and I already bought these, and I'm able to get several uses out of them. I'm gonna say you could use it 5, 10, maybe 20 different times, depending on how frugal you want it to be. So I'm gonna say that as long as it doesn't have a hole in it, as long as the mesh is still there, it's going to do the job. And you don't want it to be too terribly dirty. And as you can see, I did a decent job of cleaning this without tearing a hole in it. Also, I have my plastic buckets here. Got my plastic buckets. And actually, I could probably film from who knows where I want to film from. I'm going to move this. Y'all have to forgive the shaking. Y'all have to forgive me and the shake. We're going to come over here to the spout, to the spigot. There you go. You can see that. I got my fork. I kind of explained that last year. The fork is what I use to decap. And I'm going to try to use a potato peeler to decap. I don't know how the potato peeler is going to work. And I think in that video, I explained to y'all that the big beekeepers, some of your big beekeepers who are local, and all of your commercial beekeepers have a decapping tank or a decapping machine. But I'm not that big. They would be, when they extract though, I have 6 boxes. They would have hundreds, if not thousands of boxes that they do at one time. But there again, I'm not that big. My partner, he tapes this, but I just make sure that I pull it down real far and I just tuck it under. But sometimes if I'm not paying attention and I just put the elastic right there, I'll have a mess in the bucket. So tonight I'm going to try to pay attention. I'm going to try to calm down. On the video yesterday, you'll probably see that I wasn't very calm. I guess I had a lot on my mind. I don't know why I wasn't calm. I had too much on my mind, evidently. And we'll go ahead and we will open the spigot up. There's no sense in keeping it closed. To me, there isn't any sense unless I remember while we're doing it. And another thing, while we're early on in the video, maybe some people just want to watch the first few minutes how I get set up. So here we're gonna have to do a little cleaning. From the video yesterday, y'all saw me. Actually, I may do that off video. I'm not gonna put a frame that dirty in the extractor. I'm going to get that in. I'm going to get most of that gone. Maybe I will do that for the camera, but not right this second. I had on my mind to show y'all something else. Let's see if I can show y'all this. This honey, I got the light. Let's get in the light. I'm standing. The problem is I'm standing in the light. All right. I create a shadow. Okay, I'm trying to get this. All right, this honey right here, I think y'all can see it. It's a little darker than what I normally have. And all that is the flowers. It's the fall of the year. We have goldenrod. I have yellow weeds on the driveway. So when I think that weeds can have stuff that are good for you, I haven't identified the yellow weeds, but I will. I have some purple flowers out at the pasture. I have some other plants and trees. Have the, I think our bee trees, I call them. They're like crepe myrtles or whatever. They bloom closer to this time of the year. And so they're going to give you a darker honey. Most of the time, the fall flowers gives you a darker honey than the springtime. And I'm going to get a better frame for that, where I can show y'all exactly. That's not the best. We're going to keep searching until we find. So I'm sure y'all can see this. Just, I come over here. I don't know. I need to go to camera school or something. I'm just awful at this. Here we go. Let's see what. So you can see, and I'll try to get another shot. That is dark. That's fall. So I've had these frames in the beehive since June, but some of them were filled recently. Some in July, some in June. Goodness, there we go. Again, I'm assuming y'all can see that like I can. That is dark honey. And Lord, I wish I was better at this. Okay. And maybe it's showing up good for y'all, and I just think it's not. I'm creating a shadow. And maybe everyone does that, but it's not what I wanted to do. I did not want to create a shadow, but I did. And you look at things wrong, and there you go. You just bust it. You look at it wrong, you got to pay attention. You got to be on your toes. Okay, now this right here looks like fall honey too, but it may not be. I mean, this could possibly be either, but I'm going to say that it isn't. But maybe, and I create a shadow. I mean, that's just driving me insane. Like, what am I doing? Okay, let's stand on this side, and maybe y'all can see the middle of it. That honey has a reddish tint, which it looks like, but it may be possibly darker. And so it looks to be lighter than what I just showed you. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to try to go grab a frame. And maybe reddish tint, because, yeah, that's definitely not a reddish tint. Okay, on this side of the frame right here. Let me poke it open for y'all. That right there is, looks like spring honey. It's golden tinted. And then I'm going to pick this other one back up. So we go from spring honey. I'm going to bust it. That's your darker honey. And junk. I don't know how well y'all can see that. The camera does good. We have, using this iPhone 7. Maybe y'all can see that better than I think you can. I'm looking into the camera, trying to watch it with y'all. Yeah, you can kind of tell. That's a little darker. So that's fall honey. And again, I like all honey, as long as it's honestly produced. Even if it's the biggest beekeeper in America that I've watched is 80,000 hives. And from what I know about him and what I've seen, I would eat his honey. I mean, I'd rather have mine or somebody smaller. And then, I've watched other beekeepers from various sizes. And the only honey I won't eat is the stuff that's mixed together, which only big, huge, large corporations do that, bigger than the guy with 80,000. And the stuff that comes from China. Any other honey I'm going to eat. But, of course, I'm partial to my honey. And then I'm partial to the people that taught me. But in my mind, there's no bad honey out there. There's no honey that I'm going to turn my nose up at or not eat. And I think it's kind of like, you know, with beef. I'm also a beef farmer. I was out checking the cows. That's why I'm so late getting started. But, you know, you have, is Kobe beef better? Is Black Angus beef better? Is it the diet of the cow and the bone structure of the cow and not the breed of the cow? Is it the way you age the steak? Is it, you know, grass-fed versus corn-fed? You know, same thing with honey. Goldenrod, Tupelo honey, spring honey, fall honey. The debate goes on, especially when you study as much as I do. So now I'm going to try to quit just talking, and we're going to start slanging. And I will say this, I was trying to wait as late as I could to rob the bees. And wait as late as I could to rob the bees so that I get as much, you know, that just drives me crazy when I throw the shadow on y'all. As much dark honey as possible. I get as much dark honey as possible. And I robbed them yesterday, and that's the first day that I call fall. I mean, the calendar has fall. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. But yesterday's the first day when the temperature dropped. And so I'm going to say I waited as late as possible. Somebody who is an outright expert in beekeeping may argue with that, or they may probably say I waited too late. But I didn't want to wait any later because the bees like to keep their hive. I think the brood has to be 98 degrees, 90-ish degrees. And so anyway, now we're going to sling. Okay, the potato pillar is doing okay. And it would definitely work if you were in a bind. But I can already tell, and maybe this is just me, I can already tell the fork is better. The fork is not better when you lose it. There's the fork. And they also have a box. They call it a decapping box for small beekeepers, for hobby beekeepers like I am. And you put it down here. I think y'all have seen me do it in another video. I can borrow one from friends. And actually it is in the other videos. But I just decap over the centrifuge. And it would be better if I were a cameraman and a beekeeper. I'm not going to get y'all closer. I'm assuming y'all can see that. And I'll talk just a minute about the different uses. Y'all probably going to get tired of me saying that, but I'm going to turn these cappings. Of course I did that. I'm going to turn these cappings into beeswax. And you know, the only thing that I have to really do is figure this out. That's going to be my kryptonite if I don't figure that out. The only thing that really trips me up on this is I've kind of abused this electric centrifuge. And if y'all remember from the video in May, it was slinging me around. But I think I remember how to use it. But I have to hold on to this electric centrifuge. And with me down here by myself, which no complaints, I only have 6 boxes. Sometimes it's good to work by yourself. I want to be doing other stuff while the honey is slinging. But instead, I have to hold the centrifuge, which if you're a multitasker, or if you just think you're a multitasker and you're really not, that can cause issues. Put that down in there. And I'm just really got to think about, mean, I know I've done this before. I figured out what to do with this so that it wants to fall into the frame. And I have figured it out before. And it's like the mind turns on, turns off, you know. It's like, where's my mind? My mind is definitely supposed to be inside my head. It's supposed to work. I've got an idea. Bingo. Now, the mind is definitely inside the head, and it's definitely working, especially if it stays like that, because that was too easy of a fix. Life is not supposed to be that easy. And so this looks like a dark frame. You know? It's not a dark frame. This one is a dark frame right on. We got it. You know, it really looks like some of the honey in there is dark. No, it's ready to go. And I tell you, maybe y'all can't see because I just put it right in the light. Yeah, you can kind of tell. You can tell. So what I'm going to try to do, the goal here is to do one bucket. Lord help me. The goal is to do one 5-gallon bucket of fall honey, one 5-gallon bucket of what they call red honey, regular honey, and possibly maybe some spring honey in the other bucket. I'm going to try to do that. And I guess one deep box gives 5 gallons of honey. And super box, which these are super frames. I could show y'all that, but I'll show y'all the difference between the frames. Super versus deep. And you know,
Dad,
yes.
I got a pork chop or I got a piece of chicken. What you want?
Neither.
Neither.
Okay. Back to filming. All right, I think I've attracted some ants in here. I feel them on my feet. Got some ants in here. Looking for some more fall honey. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to try to do some more research. I know for a fact the springtime and the clover gives you the light golden honey. But I'm going to try to do some more research on the fall. Also, the yellow flowers on the driveway, I'm going to need to get those identified and see exactly what's in those. And then I can let y'all know more about what's in the honey. Oh, I was going to say, I foolishly, talk about my mind was working when I come up with that solution, but I foolishly had a snack before I came down here. And why that was foolish is because my snack is right here. I mean, I'm not going to, obviously, I'll do something like this. just to show y'all how clean I am. Put it on the thumb. There's the snack right there. I always keep your fork clean. When I say your fork, you know, that's the fork that touches the honey. Always keep it clean for y'all. Washed my hands before I come down here. I used to be a restaurant worker, and I hate the FDA, but it seemed like the stuff that they had for the restaurant workers was pretty legit. And so, FDA, I think I made that up. That was probably Department of Health and Human Services that regulate the restaurants. I don't know. Yeah, that was Mississippi Department of Health who was over the restaurants. Anyway, those guidelines about handling food, they're okay. I'm not sure if they just made those up or made those up. I'm not sure if that's something where somebody just bribed them to do it. You know, some of this stuff is just a pure greedy bribe. And some of the stuff is actually science or pretends to be science. So now we're working on, oh, that's in between them. I just don't want to play games unless I have to. That looks like fall. That looks like fall, y'all. I'm just trying to be really meticulous, especially. No, that's definitely fall. And this could be part of the honeycomb, but you can definitely. Let me blind you. Let me take up all your light. There we go. Lay it down like that. Y'all can't really see that too good. Okay. Let me see if I can adjust the camera for y'all. Wondering, yeah, I think y'all can see how dark that is. Okay, back up. Of course, I have to get honey all over my hands, all over the camera, all over my feet, all over the ground, not all over my feet. And you know, I'm one of these people who, I'm not like a hands-on learner. They call me a kinesthetic learner. I don't know if it's because I'm that or I'm messy, but I get everything on me. It's not just when I do honey, when I paint, when I, what else do I do? When I work on stuff, like if I'm pretending to be a mechanic, I kind of make a mess. And if I try not to make a mess, I think it just kind of drives me insane. Like it seems like I'm working 2 jobs at once. So this is how I do it. Right here. But I think that I make less of a mess, especially when I have that tied off like I do with the extension cord. And I'm doing it over the extractor. You know, it is possible for me to be almost as clean as a normal person. And again, I'm not talking about the honey. I'm not talking about the inside of that. I'm talking about this out here. Yeah. And again, I've told y'all this on other videos, but the decapping is the important part. If you have a frame that's properly decapped, you can sling it out in 2 to 5 minutes. Assuming all your stuff works. So that, I've heard people talk about the taste and smell of honey that has some goldenrod or some fall in it. So I just tasted that honeycomb. That is 100% not the same taste as the spring honey. So I'm going off the color, now I'm going off the taste, now I'm going off the smell. It is for sure fall honey, as far as someone without a lab can tell. We're gonna go ahead and move these out of the way. It looks like y'all can kind of see what's going on. To get myself in the right position here. If you don't grab this tractor just right, you might think it's a bucking bull. But I think I'm gonna grab it right today. Okay. It obviously has a short in it because, as you can see, I turn the switch on and then I squeeze it together. And since I'm not an electrician, I'm not sure what the squeezing together does, except it makes it work. And so just keep squeezing it together. I feel like I don't have this tightened down all the way. And you see, when I let go, that is what it is. When I let go, it turns off. So, you know, if you let go of your centrifuge, the way I do it is like this. Gonna be it. And you know, junk. I just realized this one right here is not put together right. That is one. That's gonna be a little bitty. You know, I hate trying to. I thought I'd double check this and put it together. I came down here about say 4 weeks ago and I re-washed it out. Just to make sure everything was clean, put it back together, put just a few drops of oil on the right spots, not motor oil. I put like almond oil because it's, you know, but it was dried by the time I slung it. And I thought I checked this. Maybe I just didn't have another one. Make sure. Yeah, see, it's not on there. Make sure these are on there. Oh, those are good. So maybe I checked all of them. And so I know what to do. I have an idea now. Oh, junk. When you grab it right, it turns back on. Yeah. Y'all are having to watching me. So it's just like all the things that you forget. I'm going to take one out of this one. The middle one out. Of course, I tightened it down. And now I want to take it out. That's just the way life goes. Do I even have a wrench that small? I don't even know. Do I even have a wrench that small? I'm going to say that I don't have a wrench that small. We may have to just risk it. It looks like we're going to have to risk it because we are already into the nighttime hours. And so, I'm going to show you all that. Again, and I'm going to show you all that. Let's see, can y'all see? Y'all can see that. Slung out. Good deal. There we go. Yeah, no, I've already made that decision. Okay, so there's no holding up. I think the research goes like, if you want to call something a certain type of honey, you need 60% of the jar or the frame or the bucket. So if I want to call this fall honey, as you can see, I noticed this once I started decapping it, the top is a little lighter honey. Now that doesn't mean it wasn't, the bees didn't, that doesn't mean it wasn't the fall of the year. It just means it was different plants. And it could have been, that they worked on this frame different times. But it's never going to be 100% because the bees don't just go to one flower. They go, even if you have them like in the swamp on Tupelo trees, in May, there may be other stuff in the swamp. I'm going to say there is. I said maybe because I don't live on the swamp. There may be other stuff in the swamp in May that's blooming. And so if it's 60 or 70 or 40%, you're going to taste the black gum or the Tupelo gum in your honey, but there also may be other flavors in there. And if you're, most people say they're consuming honey for their health. Honey or maple syrup, I think, are two of the healthiest sugars you can consume. And they say they're either doing it for the allergies or for the honey's like has some antibiotic properties, like it's good for your good bacteria or to help with the bad bacteria, antifungal. They say that honey's like that. You're going to need, for the taste, you may want the Tupelo honey or you may want my spring honey from the clover. But if you're consuming it for health benefits, you want as many flowers, as many different types of pollen and nectar, as many different types of flowers as the bees can get a hold of. So you want a bee yard to be as diverse as possible. I mean, you don't want to be, again, beekeepers are kind of people who I would think portray themselves as people who care for nature or interact with it. So we don't want to be like altering nature for our honey. But as the flowers grow, so the bees go. So it's kind of the way I like to keep it. I don't want to be out there, tearing up the field, planting this and planting that. I just stick the bees out there. Read online, hey, plant this. This will help bees do good in your area. Okay, I plant that. Making sure that my soil will handle it. And also checking to see, will my cows like it? Because I've got the bees and the cows in the same pasture. Somebody can correct me on this. I haven't stuck the beehives inside the same fence as the cows. I have them where the cows can't get to, because cows like to rub, and I figure they rub up against my beehive and knock it over. So I keep them, kind of like where the hay is, for lack of a better word. Not for lack of a better word, for lack of a better description. So if you picture a cattle farm, I would keep my beehives where the house is or where the hay is, a place where the cows can't get to them. Because when you weigh, I'm trying to think of a big mama cow, 12 to 1400, and a big bull 1400 to 2200. they can knock a lot of stuff over. I was out there today examining my new baby calf, and so that my mama cow had, and as I was examining it, the mama cow was charging at me, and my brother thought that instead of knocking the beehives over, she's gonna knock me over. I don't guess she appreciated me examining my baby calf. That's pretty dark. Y'all are probably getting me. Y'all are probably sitting there being like, we got the dark and light. We know about that already. Stop showing us. It would help if I put the bucket under the honey. I'm going to make the ants. I'm going to make honey for the ants. Or am I going to make honey for y'all? You know, that's the question. And as you saw last time, I know this, I'm on minute 36 of this video, but I slung it really quick. Slung it quick. And so we're going to turn it on. Turn it on right here. And we're going to squeeze it together. And like, I never turn this up past halfway, never. Yeah, I do turn it up past halfway, but it's very rare for me to do that. You decap it right, I got it set, I got it up, turned up 20% right now. Let's bump it up to 40%, and that's all we need, because it's decapped. And you know, when I first started, I didn't know what to do. So you err on the side of caution. I'd sling some of these frames 15, 30 minutes. I'd have this going on just one side. It's unnecessary. Once you get your decapping the way that you want to decap it down, once you get your process going, you sling it. Even with a hand crank, you sling it 5 minutes, you're good to go. It's all about, and I said this 5 times, it's all about decapping. And of course, I was telling y'all about the tank. I think those tanks are $900, but if you have a tank, yeah, I think a tank would work with this one. A lot of folks that have a tank have a conveyor belt, and the tank is connected to their big centrifuge because they have something that'll sling like 36, 40 frames, 50 frames at a time maybe. But I think you can do the tank with this, but it has like blades on it, and blades on each side, and you run the frame through, and the blades will kind of be like Edward Scissorhands to the frame. You can, I think the one that I watched was Honnold Bee Farm from Minnesota. They have a camera that'll way more expensive than mine. That'll get right down in their decapping tank. And and since Honnold is a big commercial bee yard, they have the pipes and the machinery that they show you beekeeping in the 21st century. I'm showing you beekeeping like the fork part is like, a long time ago, and this is electric, so I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm showing you both worlds. They're all the way 21st century. Wow, I was hoping to get and as you can see, that's completely slung out. Or as I hope you can see. There's no honey coming off that front. Is that dark? Yeah, that ain't very dark. you see this? I guess I'm fixated on showing y'all the difference between dark and light honey. Can you guys see that? Can y'all see it? That's just the question. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Come on, I want to show it to y'all. Okay, there, you should see that. That is fall honey on the bottom. Those are different plants. That is light golden honey. Those are different plants. So let's see if I can show y'all. Okay, so we're going to call this right here some dark. Yep. And I'm going to put these right next to each other. So let's see here. Dark, dark. There we go, right there. Contrast. What would that be? That's going to be junk. You know, the light really shines in there and messes me up. Yeah, but you can see that dark spot right there. And then you can see, well, that's another dark spot. Okay, one other thing, enough of that. So, in these frames here, that is uncapped honey. So this right here is capped honey right there. The bees have made this honey ready. It is ready. So with capped honey, it's 18% moisture. With uncapped honey, I don't remember if it's less or more. But if you sling a lot of uncapped honey, I figured this out on accident. If you sling a lot of uncapped honey, this part right here, and I got other frames I can show y'all. Right there is uncapped honey. It'll ferment in the jar. I'm sure y'all have heard about honey being discovered in the Egyptian pyramid, 3,000 years old. Honey's been left in a beekeeper died, then honey left in his basement, 20 years old, whatever. Honey's good. I have honey that I've eaten 3 years old, 5 years old. I don't know the exact. But the uncapped honey will ferment, and I actually love the taste. And I need to actually ask somebody who makes alcohol or who makes bread, is that fermented honey, is that the right stuff? And I'm going to make mead, maybe in that thing this winter, because I got some honey that's crystallized. And I don't know if I want to do any fermented today. I did that other fermented accidental. So I had some frames. Sometimes you'll have a frame that's half capped, half uncapped. And so I slung too much uncapped in my extractor. And then some of it fermented in the jar. But today, you don't got to worry about that because that's just a tiny bit of uncapped. And I checked these frames pretty good to make sure I'm giving y'all a good product. And I'm going to do one more thing I want to show y'all. I don't even know how many people can hang 45 minutes. But, you know, I wanted to do that. I should have showed y'all this first thing. And I'm going to, gosh. Deep frame, super frame. I think a super box has 2.5 gallons of honey for one super box. And then for a deep box, this is 10 frames, 2.5 gallons, 5 gallons. Or maybe this is 2.5 gallons and this is 1 gallon. I will fix that in the comments down below and let y'all know for sure about that. Or someone else will. Okay, and so we're going to stop this. Okay, one more thing I want to show y'all is honey flow, of course. And I really hate I'm letting this video go so long. Oh, I have it screwed down. I can't do that. Jump. Okay. Well, as you can see though, I'm starting to get honey flow, and that honey's coming out pretty dark like we expected. And so there you go with the honey flow. Gonna catch y'all on part 2. Slinging fall honey.